Calling into the Tuesday Morning Ad Clinic. This is Rich Harshaw, and I do apologize for being a couple minutes late. This was a Murphy's Law morning dealing with a few technology issues related to switching to a new computer recently, and that caused me a little bit of a snag, and it might cause me a little bit of a snag later on. I don't know. We'll have to see about that, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks again for being on the call. And we're going to go ahead and get started. If you look on your screen, the first submitter is, let's see, hang on here. I do have some new technology I'm trying to deal with. Okay. Submission 1, Crawl Space and Basement Solutions, Bob Runyon. And that's who we've got on here. Let me find you, Bob, and unmute you. All right, Bob, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Well, I'm a little bit disheveled, to be honest with you. The technology issues caught me a little bit off guard, but not too bad. Besides that, I'm doing pretty darn good. Thanks for being on the call today.
You're welcome.
So let's take a look at this. This is a Yellow Pages ad. And why don't you tell me about this? Where's it going to be running? Have you run it before? Is this a new ad? Is it a replacement ad? You used to do a different one. How big is the ad, and so forth?
It's a new ad replacing another ad. It's about a business card size ad. It'll be under Foundation Contractors in the Yellow Pages.
Okay. I want to thank you for submitting a Yellow Pages ad. We don't get a chance to look at a lot of these anymore.
Well, believe it or not, here in West Virginia, Yellow Pages is right now our biggest draw.
Well, you know, just a side note on Yellow Pages, a lot of people are down on it and say it doesn't work, and they're right in some cases. It doesn't work in some cases, but I don't recommend wholesale abandonment of the Yellow Pages without looking at the results, and there's some things that you can do. I won't go over it on this call. I've covered it on several other to test the Yellow Pages to make sure it's working. One thing that I am curious about, though, given the fact that you do run this ad and that the Yellow Pages does work well for you, I'd like to know how big is your ad relative to the other competitors that you're competing against?
Well, we're in numerous books. There's some that are bigger, but most of the time they're actually some smaller, just a line ad or an in-column ad.
Okay, because here's what we see a lot of times, Bob, is if you've got a bigger ad, that a lot of times that'll do the trick for you, almost regardless of what the ad says. Now, the areas where that theory starts to break down is when you've got a section that has multiple large ads, and so now you're one of 7, full or half-page ads. I'm not suggesting you should be a full or half-page ad, but you get the idea, right?
Right.
But if there's a scenario where there's a lot of smaller ads and you can simply jack your ad up a little bit bigger in size, that is usually, keyword, listen to me very carefully, usually that's going to be your best bet. Now, that doesn't mean we shouldn't look at the content and the copy and make sure it says good things. Obviously, we should. But bigger is better because it's going to be seen by more people, and people are also going to instantaneously rate your company as better, more important, more trustworthy simply because the ad is larger. So just keep that in mind. We don't need to dwell on that topic, but just some food for thought, okay?
Okay.
Let's take a look at the ad itself. I'll tell you what I do not like about this ad first, and then we can get into maybe how to fix that a little bit. You've got, the problem you've got on this ad is you've crammed so much stuff in there that it dramatically hinders readability. So in other words, a person looks at this and you've got all these words crammed very tightly into this small space. You're using all capital letters, which are very difficult to read. So people have to really slow down and take time to read through all of these words because visually it looks like a big clump. So the first thing we're going to want to do is get rid of this clump to a certain extent. Do you see what I mean when I say it's all looking like a big clump?
Yes.
Here's what we know about the way that people read. They don't actually read letters and words. They read shapes of words. Have you ever seen the experiments or the examples where you take the first and last letter of a word, you leave it where it should be, but then you randomly scramble all of the other words inside the first and last letter? Have you ever seen this before?
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing. You can read it at probably 80% of the speed that you would read normal text, because your brain isn't looking at it and going sinking foundation, S-I-N-K-I-N-G. It just looks at the shape and it recognizes it from experience. So when we put everything in all capitals, it removes the unique shape of each word, and it forces the brain to have to slow down and really pay attention. Then when you stack multiple lines of all caps and it's all crammed in there, it makes it very difficult. So we could take what you have and actually keep the exact same words and just make it easier to read by using title case. Title case, as opposed to all capitals. Title case is where we take the first letter of each word and we make it capitalized. And then we would want to probably make the copy a little bit smaller in the font size so it's a little bit easier to read. So let's try that here real quick, okay?
Okay.
Let me pull something up. Okay. And I'm going to pull something else up so I can see this. Oh, darn it. That's not what I'm trying to do. Okay. All right, just need to be able to see that. Sinking foundation, load, and cracked walls, sticking windows and doors, these problems, and here. I might even put a period. Sinking foundation, load, cracks, and walls, sticking windows and doors, these problems, and here. Now we want this to be bigger because we want that to be what really shows up. Maybe this even a little bit bigger. Now this is probably a little bit too big, so let's come in here and mess with this. Now I'm not saying you want to sit there and do this yourself. You might have somebody else do it, but I just want you to see how it looks. Okay. We're going to want to make this smaller. Okay, now it's going to be easier to read like this, but now the next thing that we need to do is look at the content. One thing I don't like about this is called today for a free homeowner's guide to foundation repair. The problem with this tactic is you're talking to now buyers. These are people that are in the Yellow Pages looking. Why? Because they got a problem right now. So what they really don't necessarily want is a homeowner's guide to foundation repair. What they want is somebody to come fix the dumb thing. So you're throwing potentially an unnecessary step in the mix. That make sense? Doesn't mean you can't have a guide. Doesn't mean you shouldn't have a guide. Doesn't mean that you can't give a guy a guide. It simply means that when the guy is looking at this ad, his thought process is, I got to have somebody come fix this dumb thing because it's driving me nuts. I've got Sinking Foundation. I've got whatever problem. I've had it up to here. The reason I'm in the Yellow Pages is because it's bad enough of a problem that I want to fix it. And they want to pick up the phone and say, hey, I want you to come fix it. They don't want to be told, hey, here's some homework. Doesn't mean that there's not value in the guide. I want you to hear me loud and clear on that. Are you following me?
Yeah.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I follow you.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Let's just pause for a moment and take a little bit different tactic on this. What is the reason somebody would want to hire you instead of everybody else? What makes you so good? What's your identity?
I mean, as far as are you asking as far as what the ad says, or just
in general? No, we're not writing an ad right now. We're just talking.
You know, I don't know. I mean, I know the answers that is what everybody else is too. That to bring us apart, I don't know why we're different than everybody else.
So then why would somebody want to hire you? If you're no different than anybody else, why should they hire you?
Right.
Okay. I'm just looking at a couple stuffs here. You know, typically what we're going to want to do in a Yellow Pages ad is we're going to want to talk some vendor selection, why you're different and better than everybody else, because that's what people have on their mind when they go to the Yellow Pages and they're trying to choose somebody. They want to know, okay, there's lots of companies in here. I'm looking at 2 or 3 or 4 and maybe 10, and I want to know why I should call one over the other. Now, the way that you've got this here in your current ad, sinking foundation, bowed, cracked, and walls, sticking windows and doors, these problems end here, that's a powerful way to say it. So that's good. That's gonna already put you a little bit ahead of the pack simply because you're communicating powerfully, and people are drawn to people that talk in a powerful way because they believe that people that talk that way probably can perform at a higher level and have the skills and abilities. What I'm wondering is just maybe even from a bullet point standpoint, what is it that you do that makes you better or good? Maybe not even better, but just good.
Well, the reason for the homeowner's guide is for education, and I see we're educating our clients, and I see a lot of our competition is not. And
okay,
nowadays are looking for information.
That's good, but understand, by the time I get to the Yellow Pages, I'm ready to have someone come fix the dumb thing. So, again, let's make sure we're real clear on this. Doesn't mean you shouldn't and couldn't and don't have a guide. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this. Somebody has this question in their brain. Why should I hire this company? Why should I call this company? And they're looking for things to help them. Now, if I'm on your website, the difference between a website and a Yellow Pages ad is on a website, if I've done it properly, I can have a lot of different things that they can easily, quickly click on, look at, social proof, powerful talk. All of these things are right there at their fingertips. With the Yellow Pages ad, all I've got is what they see on this page. So what are things that are important and relevant to people when they're hiring a basement repair company? What kind of things are they looking for?
Probably mainly like in any contractor, someone that they can trust.
Okay, trust. What else? Let's keep going.
I guess they look for the warranty.
Okay. Do you have a good warranty?
Yes.
How good is it? What is it?
It's 30-year warranty, best in the industry.
What is everybody else's?
Less than 30, probably 20, 15, none.
How many have none? that pretty rare?
Well, there's some that don't advertise any. I haven't dealt with them, so I don't know if they have any or not. But
what's typical? 15, 20?
Probably, probably 20 or 25.
Okay, and that's good. So, and people trust you. Why do the people trust you? Why would somebody feel like they could trust you? You're a nice guy, or what? Something else? What?
I guess until they meet us, they can't, and that's, we have to find a way to put.
Have you been doing this for a while?
This part of my business I've been doing for about 6 years.
Okay, and how many basements have you done?
We do other things other than peering, other than this right here. So we've probably done about 400.
Okay, and what else do you do besides this?
We do basement waterproofing, and we fix bowed and cracked walls, and we do crawl space encapsulation.
How long have you been in the basement business?
The same, 6 years.
6 years. What were you doing before that? Something completely different or something semi-related?
I have another, well, it's semi-related. I have another complete company I've been doing for 30 years. It's a carpet cleaning and restoration business.
Okay. How are your prices?
Most of the time we're higher than everybody.
By how much?
Oh, anywhere from probably 50% to 15%.
Did you say 50 to 15?
Yeah.
Okay. So stated differently, 15 to 50, right?
It's how you look at it, I guess.
Okay. So if somebody else charges $5,000, you might be 15 to 50% higher. You might be as much as $7,500. Is that right?
At least, yeah. Yes.
Okay. And typically people balk at that, or they don't mind paying it after they find out who you are?
Probably at least 50% of the time they don't balk.
And what about the other 50%? They say, well, this other guy will do it cheaper?
Right.
Do they usually shop you?
Pardon me?
Do they usually shop you?
Oh, yes, definitely.
And if you come out 15 to 50% higher and they've got another bid that's 15 to 50% lower, do people still go with you sometimes?
Yes.
Yeah, why do they tell you they go with you?
Well, we send out, when it gets to that, we send out what we call a consultant that does a full, presentation, and it's because they like and trust him.
And what is he saying? What does it mean? You charge more, so there's got to be something you do that's better. Otherwise, it's just a beauty contest and you're prettier. But I doubt that's the case.
Well,
just a beauty contest and you happen to be prettier, but you really substantially don't do anything different?
One thing, well, I guess you got to determine whether they know it or not. But one thing that I noticed in my area anyway, a lot of, not all, but a lot of contractors don't give a date and a time that they're going to show up. We do. They'll tell them, we're out a couple weeks. We'll call you. When someone signs a contract, they have a date and a time, and guess what? We're there.
And is your specific date and time usually about the same, or shorter or longer than your competitors?
Most of the time, it's longer.
It takes you longer to get there because you're more backed up. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, we're usually right now we're like 6 weeks out.
Okay. That's good, right?
That's great.
And is that normally not a problem? Are these the kind of issues that aren't causing people day-to-day problems? Is that probably true?
Say that again.
is 6 weeks acceptable because the kind of things that you're fixing are not things that are urgent typically?
But yeah, most of the time. Sometimes we get to 60 days, and that's when we'll start losing jobs because they don't want to wait.
So let me ask you this. You charge 15 to 50% more. So far, here's what I've heard you say. We give 5 years more on the warranty, or maybe 10, and we'll give you a specific date. But you haven't really given me any kind of rationale as why I should pay you that much more money, other than you're prettier than everybody else. Your sales guy does a better job of making them feel comfortable. Is there anything else you do that makes you better? Do you do better work? Is it more quality work? Is there something that makes it substantially or significantly or noticeably or quantifiably better or different? Or is it pretty much the same thing that everybody else is doing? You're just charging more money?
In some ways, it's the same thing, and in other ways, we do some different things.
Like what?
And some companies do some of these, and most of them, I think, are probably one other. We send out a pre-mailer, a packet to the homeowner about the guy that's coming out and just the company and one of the homeowner's guides, and we then once the job is actually sold, we do a 30-day, send out our service guide, do a 30-day inspection, which is, and people really like that and tend to like that we're going to come out and check on it. We're just not leaving them alone. We stay in contact with them.
All right,
we send out a monthly newsletter to 1,500 of our past prospects and clients every month.
Okay, here's what I want to know. And we're not writing an ad right now, and nobody outside of this call is going to hear this, so don't be real concerned about being negative. But I want you to be a little bit negative just with me, okay?
Okay.
I want you to tell me what the other companies do that messes it up or isn't as good or makes the experience less pleasant for the customer compared to you. Do they mess stuff up, or they?
Well, without me being
brag
there,
on your competitors.
Without me being there when they're not, when they're not selling the job or whatever, I can just go by what I hear from my salesman, and usually when a salesman comes back that has saw the other estimate and he sold the job for more money, it's the people who said they just didn't trust the guy or they just didn't like the guy. There was just something there. I don't know if we run some TV, and we're one of the few in the area that run TV in this industry. I don't know if that gives us more credibility or what, but other than that, I mean, I don't know what they may or may not do. Maybe they don't give them a date.
So here's where we're at right now, okay? So I'm a customer, and you just told me that it's going to be $7,000, and I've got another quote here for $5,000, okay?
Yeah.
And I've been grilling you about, okay, I see that you're more expensive. Tell me why I'm going to want to go with you instead of somebody else, even though you're more expensive. And here's what you told me. You said, we've got a 30-year warranty, and I look at that and go, well, this other one's 20. I'll probably be dead in 20 years anyway, or moved. And you say you'll give me a specific time, which is 6 weeks out, but the other guy won't give me a specific time. But for $2,000, I'm probably willing to be a little more flexible with my time. And your guy looks really good and professional, and the other guy, showed up in a pickup truck, so there's something to consider. But here's what you haven't told me. You haven't given me any kind of skill shot. Here's why we're better. And I'm waiting for it. Do you have one? Or are you just simply more expensive? Because I deal with companies all the time that are more expensive. I deal with an air conditioning company in Philadelphia that's more expensive than their competitors by 15 to 100%. But if I say to them, why would I want to pay you more money, they're going to give a whole lot of reasons. There's so many things that they do that are so much better, and they're quantifiable, and they're awesome. And you look at it, some people still don't want to pay more, but a lot of people say, hey, I understand that. I'm looking for more specific reasons. Are your guys more experienced? Do they do better work? Is it going to last longer? What is it?
Other than this, what every other company would say, I don't know.
I'm not asking what people would say. I'm asking about the real deal. When it comes down to brass tacks, do you perform better or do you perform about the same as everybody else?
No, I think we perform better. I think we give better service. We have a better product. We have some unique products. We give great customer service.
How so? You tell me when you'll be there. Good. What else?
Well, right from the get-go, when they call in here, we schedule them for a lead to be run. The guy shows up on time the day that he's supposed to be there. We show up when we're going to do the job. We do the job. We stay there until it's done.
Are you guys clean?
Pardon me?
Are you guys clean?
Of course.
Do they have clean clothes on?
They have clean clothes. They have a lettered truck. They're courteous. That's the biggest thing. One of the biggest things we get from testimonies back from our customers, that the crew was very professional and courteous.
Okay, good. Are they background checked?
Yep, background checked, drug tested.
Oh, look at all these rocks I'm turning over, and look at all these bugs and squiggling and cool things I'm finding under them here. Background checked. Okay, good. Drug tested. Okay. Clean, professional, courteous, punctual, on time, right?
Right.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. Their trucks are clean?
Right.
Okay, and you said they got graphics on them?
Yes.
Like just your name, or like they're fully graphics?
No, just the name, like a billboard.
Okay. This is not going in the ad. I'm just curious. How often do you wash your trucks?
Well, we have a guy that does it every Friday.
Okay. Now, you know why I'm asking you that question?
I guess.
Do you have any idea why I would ask you that question? It seems kind of random and unimportant. But here's what I'm hearing from you. I'm hearing from you, hey, we spent a lot of time and effort to have a really good customer service experience. And so if I would have had to bet money, do you have a specific time and increment of washing trucks? I would have bet any amount of money that you were going to tell me yes, not just, well, when they're dirty, we wash them. And sure enough, you say, yeah, a guy comes out and washes them every Friday. So here's what I'm hearing. You guys put a lot of attention to detail and effort into making the experience great. And I'm hearing you say things like we're clean, we're courteous, we're professional, we've got background checked, we're drug tested, our trucks are clean, all of this stuff. Now, here's the funny thing is this is the stuff that I've been kind of, if we're boxing, I've been punching you a few times trying to get this stuff out of you, and you haven't been given it because to you, you look at it and go, well, it's just what we do. But this is interesting stuff that I think can be used in the marketing and advertising that people aren't going to know. And you made an interesting comment earlier. You said, well, they're not really going to know that they can trust us till they meet us. And my immediate reaction to that, I didn't say anything, but I was thinking it was, no, we can have them trust you before they ever meet you. Do you have somebody that answers the phone, a human being?
Yes.
Or does it go to voicemail?
Oh, no, it goes to a human being.
What if I call at 11 o'clock at night? Then what? Does it go to an answering service or to a voicemail?
Voicemail.
Okay, what time do you answer the phone?
8 to 5.
8 to 5. What if I call 5:05? Probably going to get a voicemail?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not necessarily trying to rewrite this ad completely. I think that the ad is good because it identifies the problems that you fix. But we may want to consider some of this other stuff. Sinking foundation, bowed cracks in walls, sticking windows and doors, these problems end here. And then what I might do is come over here. Clean, courteous, punctual, background check. I can't spell, as you can see. Actually, I can spell just fine. I just can't type very good. Background checked, drug tested, clean, courteous, punctual, background checked, drug tested, customer service we're the most customer service oriented company in the entire industry. Clean, courteous, punctual, background check, drug tested, longest warranty, friendliest people from first phone call to final inspection. Oh, something like that. I'm not trying to get silly here, but now read that. Sinking foundation, bowed cracks in walls, sticking windows and doors, these problems end here. Okay, good. That's what I was looking for when I came to the Yellow Pages. We're the most customer service oriented, probably need to put a hyphen in there, customer service oriented company in the entire industry. Clean, courteous, punctual, background check, drug tested, longest warranty, friendliest people from the first phone call to final inspection. Now, guess what I just told people? These are reasons people like us. And they look at that and go, oh, wow, yeah, that sounds like what I'm looking for. Now, guess what's going to happen? They're going to call you. Who answers the phone if I called right now? Tell me the name of the person.
Sarah.
Tara?
Sarah.
Sarah. Okay, and if I was to call Sarah right now, would she sound more like this? Hello, Crawl Space and Basement Solutions. This is Sarah. How can I help you? Or would she sound more like this? Crawl Space and Basement Solutions. What can I do for you? Which one?
More like the first one.
Yeah, guess what's going to happen? They're going to hear her, and they're going to say, wow, they really are friendly. You know, we used to have a gal that worked for us, and she was fantastic. She was a great worker. She knew she was our glue person. You know the kind of person I'm talking about in a company. She did all the administrative work. We're not that big of a company. She answered the phone. She dealt with problems on the front end, all those kinds of things. And she was great. But you know what? When you talked to her on the phone, she never sounded that excited. She didn't have a very bubbly, outgoing personality. And it wasn't a function of her attitude. It just wasn't her personality. Then we got Judy. I don't know if you've ever dealt with Judy. Judy is just as good and even better than the previous person. But on top of that, she's got this bubbly personality that just makes people feel immediately at ease. Have you ever talked to Judy?
Yes.
Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
And I'm assuming that your Sarah is very similar.
Yep.
And if I tell people in this ad, this little teeny ad, it's a business card ad, and I just put in here, we're the most customer service oriented company in the entire industry, that's a platitude. People might say, oh, you can't say that. It's a platitude. Well, I'm going to give them a little bit more information here. Clean, courteous, punctual, background check, drug tested, longest warranty, friendliest people from first phone call to final inspection. They make the call. They hear Sarah. She's bubbly. She's friendly. She's warm. She's inviting. She immediately puts the prospect at ease, and she immediately cements in their mind what? Wow, they really are that. And then when your person shows up, guess what? He's got a nice clean truck out there. They don't necessarily notice that, but they subconsciously sort of notice that. They give him the quick visual inspection. The guy's clean. He was on time. Oh, he's probably background checked. We send out a little thing ahead of time with the guide. right? We tell them who they're going to be dealing with, about the guy, and he puts his hand out, he shakes their hand, he smiles, he's friendly, and you know what? You now own these people. And I'm telling you that this little teeny switch in the Yellow Pages ad kicks in a psychological principle called confirmation bias. And confirmation bias says, if I tell people what to believe, they will then search for evidence to support that, and they will minimize evidence that goes against what I told them. And so I'm trying to allow confirmation bias to work in my favor, to where now Sarah doesn't just answer the phone and be nice and friendly. She answers the phone and she's nice and friendly, and they say, wow, she was really nice and friendly, because they were expecting it and they were looking for it. And then when your guy shows up on time, they notice that he was on time. And all of these little things, Sarah, the person on time, the homeowner's guide, the thing that's sent out before that tells about the guy, the clean truck, the clean-shaven, nice, clean uniformed or polo shirt guy that shows up, all those things, there you go, wow, this is really the kind of company that I like. Okay, so this is what I would recommend. This is a long conversation for a little teeny ad, but I think it's very critical and important. Okay, so that's my suggestion.
Sounds great.
Okay, sorry to kind of overanalyze this, Bob, but you know, what else are we going to do here on this call? It's fun.
That's right. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't want you to just see this. See, this isn't helpful to just show you what I've highlighted on the screen now. I think it's helpful to help you understand how we came up with this and why we're putting it in there. That's what's really important. So thanks, Bob. We're going to move on, but I do appreciate you being on the call today.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's go to number 2. That would be Carrie. Okay, now, Carrie, I've got some bad news for you, which is you're going to have to punch in your audio pin. And every person has an audio pin that is specific to them. So listen very carefully, Carrie. Here's what you need to do. You need to push the #90# on your telephone, and that's going to let you, okay, there we go. You there, Carrie?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry, sometimes
Okay.
the first-time callers, it's hard to figure that out, but I'm glad you got it.
Okay, good.
Okay, let me go to the next slide here. Hey, this looks familiar. Oh, come on. Okay, there it is. It should be on your screen now.
Yes.
Okay. Carrie, for those who were on the call that don't know Carrie, she is one of our newest MYM Insider members. I think about a week now, maybe a little bit more than a week. So thank you for participating. Tell me about this ad. Where are you running it?
Okay, I haven't ran it. I just kind of threw it together, so it's really not 100% complete, but I just got some ideas in there, and I just wanted to kind of run it by you to think or to see what you would say. And it's going to be used in like print ads, like a coupon booklet, but we have not ran this particular ad yet. It's just kind of a work in progress.
Okay, so $2,000 off. Tell me about that.
$2,000 off coupon. They present it to the basement specialist. It would be off their estimate to finish the basement.
And is it a real $2,000 off, or is it just between you and me, kind of a, you know, whatever discount?
Between you and me, oh, kind of a whatever. You're going to get that.
Okay, that's okay. I mean,
but they don't know that.
Hey, we're all in this thing together. We all, you know, all the contractors understand that this is kind of the way that we do business. So it's not by way of condemnation.
Right, yeah.
Just trying to get a feel for what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, usually every estimate will then be discounted depending on different things, and the discount's normally larger than what this coupon is going to be. So, and this you cannot combine with any other discount.
Okay, now if this is going to run in a coupon book, and I'm not saying it always will, but if it does, I would strongly recommend putting that in an actual coupon format.
Okay.
That's what people are going to be looking for. I mean, you can think about it, like what, maybe Clipper or something?
Yeah, and I usually do, but it kind of threw me off because I put in that $149 per month, and then I'm kind of torn, and I took out the coupon and featured the $149 per month, so it's a little different. Okay.
Now, here's my comment real specifically.
Mm-hmm.
If you're running the ad in a coupon-type book, my strong suggestion is always to make very specific coupon-looking coupons. Now, if you're running in a book that's not necessarily known for coupons, then it's not necessarily important. It's not necessarily as important, but I've found that when you put actual coupons in the coupon books, that's what people are very quickly scanning for. So what I might do here is put the $2,000 off down in the bottom right-hand corner, which is where people typically are looking for the coupon. $2,000 off doesn't mean you can't say it somewhere else, but I'd also maybe put the $149 a month as a coupon also.
Okay.
Again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to match up what people are expecting and looking for with what you're offering. That's all we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Not like I'm saying, hey, that's a bad offer. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying let's just put it in a format that looks more like what they were expecting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Now, one of the things that we had talked about when I spoke to you and Stephen a week or so ago was about this affordability issue. Did you get that ad that I sent over to you?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
the radio.
Yes. So what do you think about that? Now, this is not a discussion about radio. This is a discussion about that concept, because that would be interesting to test in print as well. And you've kind of got it in here. Right, which is
kind of what I was trying to do, but it was a little tough. Yeah, that's why I was kind of taking that. You can afford it, qualify for it, but it's kind of hard to turn that into print. And you even said that once we were talking about it. It's easier to do in radio than print. So I was trying to find a way to maybe do it in print.
I said it was easier in radio. I didn't say it was impossible.
Easier.
Let's. I'm up to the challenge. Now, before we do that, let's look at your other ads so we can get a feel for what we've got. Okay. Finish your basement with Owens Corning. You can afford it. By the way, I think you're super smart to be using the pink and the Pink Panther, so they immediately understand this is Owens Corning. The credibility is already built in, so that's good. Let's look at the third one. Finish your basement and save big. Back to school special. Okay, now for the benefit of those who were not on the conversation we had offline a couple weeks ago, which is basically everyone. Hang on one second, okay?
Mhm.
I've been doing these webinars for years, and I have just not found a good way to sneeze without just muting the line. Sorry about that. For those of you who were not on the call, here was the concept. The concept was there's a lot of people. This is a concept. Nobody is saying this is absolutely the way that the world works, but it's a good theory that we would want to test. And the theory says that there's a lot of people who are not finishing their basements because they believe that it's too expensive and it's too hard to get a loan and it's not available anymore, so they really don't even really attempt or approach the subject. They just kind of sit back and say, well, that's just not something that's available right now for us. So the concept is, well, let's let people know that it actually is available and that it is affordable, and we've got to say that in a way that is, the problem we get into with this ad right here, you can afford it. You can qualify for an FHA loan at a really good rate with a monthly payment of $149. It's kind of a hard way to say it. Let me pull up the radio ad, okay?
Mhm.
Let's see, where is that bad boy? All right. Let's take a look at the ad, and that'll give us some ideas. I haven't looked at this in a week, so here we go. Do you think it would be awesome to finish your basement but think that it's impossible to afford because it's too hard to get a loan? The truth is, if you own a home worth at least $140,000, have a household income of at least $50,000, and have decent credit, we can get you an FHA secured loan at a really good rate with a payment usually in the $170 per month range. Now, these numbers and so forth are subject to change, and we haven't fine-tuned this. So maybe it's 160 instead of 170. Maybe it's 60,000 instead of 50,000. So let's set those issues aside because they're not important to the concept here. All right. Think about that. For around $170 a month, your family can enjoy all the extra living space and comfort of a top quality finished basement without taking a home equity loan. This program is only available through Owens Corning Basement Finishing Systems and is not available to bad credit or unemployed applicants. If you got a good job, live in a home worth $140,000 to $250,000, have a decent credit score, you can be enjoying your new basement for around $170 a month in just a little over 30 days. If you've been thinking about that a finished basement is out, hello,
right,
or out of reach, call us right now to see how we can help you at phone number, etc. Okay, so here's what's going on in this ad that's powerful. Is it's just speaking directly to the issue without any pretense, without any bullcrap, for lack of a better way to say it. Now, when we get over to your ad, it's not that it's full of bullcrap. That's not the case at all. The problem is it's saying it in a very non-specific, non-granular kind of a way. So what if we took, well, where'd that thing go? Back. What if we took this ad and we came up with a headline and then we put this text in the ad and then a coupon, and we could still make a really nice looking ad. So let's come up with a headline. Finish your basement this summer to receive $2,000 off. I'm going to move this off so I can see it. You won't be able to see it. How about this headline? I don't know if this headline is going to work or not, but I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to propose it, okay? So you can feel free to reject it, all right?
Okay.
What about this? Finish your basement. I told you, I did give you permission to reject this, right?
Yes.
Just checking, okay? Finish your basement. Now, before I finish this headline, I got to throw one more piece of information to the other listeners on this call. My thought is that everybody understands the benefit of finishing their basement. It's not like anybody goes, no, wait a second, you mean I could take that unused damp space downstairs and make it into an awesome room? Wow, I never realized that. Everybody knows that. So spending a lot of time and effort on, hey, look how great it would be to change your room is not necessarily great time, effort, space, and money spent because everybody knows that. What we've got here is an objection of, I don't think I can afford it. So with that in mind, finish your basement without, underline, a home equity loan for as little as $149 a month. Now, I don't know if that's technically true or not. I think it's technically true. Tell me if that's technically true or not.
Yeah. I mean, we may change the 149 and bring it up slightly, but yeah.
Okay, bring it up to 169, whatever. But the thing I'm worried about and concerned about is it, and I wrote it into the ad. You saw it a minute ago, so I think it's technically true based on what you guys have told me is it's not a home equity loan. Now, the problem is when we start saying FHA secured loan, then people start to associate that with a home equity loan, right?
Okay.
I think if you say to the average person it's an FHA loan, they go, oh, well, that's a home equity loan, isn't it? So we may want to pull that out, not because it's not accurate, not because it's not the truth, but because it might muddy the water a little bit. People say, well, that is a home equity loan. But if I say finish your basement without a home equity loan for as little as $169 a month, I put the beautiful picture there, just like you have. I think the picture always is going to serve you well. It's going to make people go, oh, yeah, that's cool. Then down here where you say you can afford it, maybe we make this headline fit into about the same spot as you've got the $2,000 off headline. Maybe we make this picture a little bit smaller. We want it to be big still, but maybe a little bit smaller so that it will simply fit better, the rest of the stuff. And I like the Pink Panther on there. You know, 4 times might be a little bit overkill, but whatever. You know, I can live with that. I kind of like him sitting there in the basement. That's kind of cute. I kind of like him at the headline, saying, hey, look at this. So we put the picture, and maybe what we do is this. We put that headline, and maybe what we do is we put a smaller picture that only fills up 60% on the right-hand side, okay? Now, the reason 60% is because I'm going to use the other 40% for this text. And I'm going to put a subheadline that says something like, if you own a home worth at least $140,000, again, that number is subject to fine-tuning. Don't worry about that. And a household income of $50,000, and again, that's subject to fine-tuning, and decent credit, you can have the basement of your dreams in less than 30 days. And that's subject to fine-tuning too, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you own a home with at least, because here's what's going to happen. People are going to see this. Finish your basement without a home equity loan for as little as $169 a month. And they're going to say, huh, that's pretty interesting. I wonder what that's all about. So what we need to do is immediately tell them what that's all about. If you own a home worth at least $140,000 and have a household income of $50,000 and decent credit, you can have the basement of your dreams in less than 30 days. Oh, huh, interesting.
Okay, so you think that in an ad you should spell that out? Because wouldn't they want to maybe call, and then we could, because you might be getting rid of some people that may have called. But
well, let me ask you this: what if somebody has a home worth $100,000 and a household income of $30,000? How's this program going to work out for them?
I don't know. Maybe not this program, but maybe another one.
No, seriously.
I mean, I know we have.
What if they have a $100,000 home and a $30,000 annual income? What's the answer to that?
I'm not sure if they could get financed or not, but probably not at this program. But
the answer is they're not going to buy a basement from you. The answer is they're not going to buy a basement from you. Okay?
We have had customers that are below this.
Okay, I'm sure you have, but what if, okay, shall I pull my notes from you from last time?
No, I know what the notes are. I'm just wondering, in the ad, it doesn't cost any extra for these other people to call, but they may not call if we put all this in the ad. I'm just wondering if it's.
All right, you're making me pull my notes. Let's see, there. All right, per the notes. Let's see. I can't find it in my notes. Average 110. Average is $150,000 to $160,000 home value. Usually they have no equity. We might want to say that too. No home equity required. All I'm trying to do is this. You can set these standards lower if you want to say 130, 120, 40, whatever. Okay? I don't care. That's not a problem. Here's what I'm trying to do, though. By putting those numbers in there, I'm making people say to themselves, oh, this is for me. And if I leave that stuff out, then it's less likely that they're going to have this eureka, oh, that's for me. They're not going to have that experience. They're going to go, oh, but what we're trying to do is open it up and make them see, well, geez, that's my situation. I have a home that's worth $190,000 approximately. I have a household income of $70,000, but I don't have any home equity. Oh, but you don't need home equity for this. Geez, this is great. And they're drawing all of these fabulous, wonderful, awesome conclusions without even having to talk to you, so they're more eager to call. See, here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to leave all the mystery to the phone call, because here's what happens when there's mystery. People look at it and they go, it's probably not me. That's what they probably say. Now, if by putting these specifics in there, it causes people that aren't your customer to say, well, geez, that's not me. Who cares? They're not your customer. probably just helped out your sales guy, because now he's not going to be running a bunch of stupid leads that suck and don't convert.
Our average customer, definitely meets this.
So I kind of like this. Finish your basement without a home equity loan, and underline the word without, for as little as $169 a month. If you own a home worth at least $140,000 and a household income of $50,000 in decent credit, you can have the basement of your dreams in less than 30 days. And then I might just make this bullet: no home equity required. Next bullet point: not underlined a bad credit / no credit program, because I don't want those guys calling. And we talked about this. This is a critical bullet point, because I don't want people to read this and go, oh, this is the crap program for the guys that suck and have no credit, that it's 900% interest. I want people to know that's not it.
Right.
But you're not going to sell those guys. Next bullet point: available through, now this may or may not be true, so you're going to have to throw a flag if this is not available to say. Available through Owens Corning Basements. Now, here's why that's an important bullet point, if we can legally say it. Because people are going to be asking themselves, see, this is the essence of great marketing, is to anticipate what people's reaction is going to be to what we've said. And then to make sure that based on their reaction, we say the right thing to further the conversation. So people are going to be looking at this and going, well, if it's not a home equity loan and it's not a bad credit program, well, what is it? How is this money available? How is this going to work? And when they see available through Owens Corning Basements, then they go, oh, there's this big, huge company called Owens Corning that's going to float this for me. Okay, awesome. Now, the reality is you're going to do it through Wells Fargo, right? But we don't need to talk about that. We want to lean on this thing called Owens Corning and have them go, oh, Owens Corning is willing to loan me this money. Oh, okay, great. It scratches the itch of, well, how is this possible?
Right.
Now, when you get out there and you sit down with them and you say, look, this is going to be available through Wells Fargo, blah, 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 fine. By that point, you've already got them.
Okay.
And then I would put this: excellent interest rates, semicolon, easy to afford. So that because here's something else that will pop up in people's brain. Okay, but the interest rate's going to screw me over. But I'm telling them, excellent interest rates, easy to afford. And they go, oh, okay. So here's what I've told them in this. I've told them that you can get your basement finished, which everybody wants to do anyway. I mean, not everybody, but you're never going to sell somebody that doesn't want to finish their basement, so you get the idea. It's not a home equity loan. It's $169 a month. If you've got a home with this value, income of this, decent credit, you can have the basement of your dreams in less than 30 days. Oh, I wonder how that works. No home equity required. That sounds interesting. Not a bad credit, no credit program. Okay, that's for me. Available through Owens Corning Basement. Oh, okay. But what about the interest rate? Excellent interest rates, easy to afford. Oh, geez, that sounds awesome. Let me call. And then over here, and then below that, we can put a couple of these points that you've already got there. Installed in 2 weeks, about 2 weeks, whatever. Mold and mildew resistant. Lifetime warranty. Blah, blah, blah. Fine print. And then over here, under the picture, guess what we've got now? Coupon number 1.
Coupon.
$2,000 off. And then we put the Pink Panther dude there. I'm drawing this on a piece of paper. I have no idea how to draw a Pink Panther. Oh, what a horrible picture of a Pink Panther.
Oh, I'm not very good either.
And then we put some of this junk. Then I'm putting a second coupon below that says $169 a month. And then I put some fine print in there, of course. Depends on the system.
Okay.
blah, blah, blah. And then we've
So you don't think that's too much in an ad? I guess I don't visually see it, but it just...
There's no such thing as
Okay.
too much. There's only such thing as stuff that's boring, irrelevant, and not useful to the conversation.
Okay.
Okay? So, yeah, I think you can pull this off pretty easy. This is an interesting concept. And plus, I appreciate you doing it on the Tuesday morning ad clinic because it gives me time to sit down and write this ad with you without having to do it later. Finish your basement without a home equity loan for as little as $169 a month. I like this ad. I like it a lot. Now, again, let's be very clear. This is based on...
I'm going to run it, and then I'll let you know if I like it.
Yeah, this is based on some assumptions, okay? I would also, you know, what you may want to do is run this ad and run it against other ads so we can get a feel. Take one of the ads that you've written, run this ad. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
You know, the biggest problem you're having now is not, hey, this ad here is going to be significantly better or worse than the other. Your biggest problem now is just, can we get any message that gets significant phone calls, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and we may find that no matter how hard we try and no matter what approach we take, that it's still hard to get phone calls. I mean, that's the thing that's weighing on this whole discussion, right?
Mm-hmm.
In other words, is there anything we can say that's going to loosen up this reluctance to finish basements right now? And so far, pretty much everything you've tried hasn't really loosened it up. True enough?
True.
And what I'm trying to say is it may not be a function of the marketing. It may be a function of the reality of the marketplace. You know, if you go out into business and you write the greatest ad in the world for horse and buggies, you're not going to sell a lot of them because nobody wants them anymore. So there may be some marketplace circumstances that make it very difficult, but I think we've got a really good chance to loosen it up a little bit with this approach. So that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to keep expectations in check. I'm certainly not coming to you saying, hey, this is the ad that's definitely going to work, because I don't know how severe those market conditions are and how hard it's going to be to loosen people up. But I think we've got a better shot with this than a traditional, hey, we'll give you $2,000 off, or hey, look how great your basement will be. Those things are pretty much guaranteed not to loosen the market up. So let's try something a little bit different.
Okay.
By the way, I've sketched this out, and when I say sketched it out, trust me, we're talking a really, really rough sketch, okay, Carrie? But I'll scan it and send it to you.
Okay. I sketched it too while we were talking, but I'd like to see yours.
Yeah, I think we're due to talk in an hour or two anyway.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we'll talk to you then.
Okay.
Thanks for your first Tuesday morning ad clinic submission. I look forward to speaking to you on these calls again in the future.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, and now, as they say, and then there was one. So let's find out who that is. I'm struggling to, whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Let's find out who's next. There we go. Okay, Shantz Home Improvement. This would be Greg Shantz. Greg, you're live and on the call right now.
All right, I'm here.
How you doing?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, okay.
Okay, this is a redo of something we already did, is that right?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, we had talked about doing this type of radius or perimeter marketing, so we put together, I guess, part one of our mail-outs that we're going to do, and just wanted you to take a look at it and review it.
Okay, let me get it on the screen here. All right, there you go. All right, tell me about this.
Well, what we're going to do, and we had replaced 2 roofs in this particular subdivision, and I think this area had been hit by hail. We didn't actually do any hail insurance work out there, but there's probably 200 homes in that subdivision. I'd say 90% of the roofs have been replaced. The ones that remain look in pretty rough condition. So I marked down the addresses for those, and we're going to sort of micro-market these homes in hopes of getting the, some of the last 20 houses left to be completed out there.
Okay. Who do you
So what
hire?
I thought I would do is we just start out with sort of a personalized letter and handwrite the envelopes and mail them out. And in addition to that, I'm likely going to canvas and then I guess add on a postcard or something else to it.
Okay, so let's analyze the situation for a minute. 200 homes in the area, right?
Right.
And how many have already had their roofs replaced by you or somebody else?
I'd say 85% are complete.
Okay, so, and we can easily identify the ones that are not, correct?
Oh yeah, I just drive by.
Okay, so there's, what does that mean? There's maybe 20 or 30 that are not done?
Yeah, I think about 30 are incomplete at this time. So I jotted down the addresses as I drove through there.
So here's the question that would drive me crazy. Why haven't they done anything?
Oh, I'm with you.
What's the answer to the question? See, because I think the answer to that question is the key to the marketing.
Well, I think it's a couple. I mean, if I had to just guesstimate, I would say that it's either they're procrastinators, they don't have any money, or maybe they're renting out the home, or it's vacant. Maybe they're foreclosed homes. I mean, it's hard to tell. Obviously.
Okay, now, what's the likelihood that they've been marketed to a lot already?
Good question, but I would guess they've been marketed.
How many times do you think their door's been knocked?
Seeing as that we're new in that particular subdivision, it's really hard to say. I don't know for sure if there was, because the two houses we did, they did not have hail damage. We had a lot of hail in Atlanta a couple of years ago, so a good number of areas had a monstrous swaths of hail claims, and these particular houses have hail damage. So did some of the subdivision have hail damage? Maybe.
There's
and
200
if they
homes.
did, they were marketed like crazy.
There's 200 homes. You did 2 of them, right?
Right.
Who did the other 168? How many companies total? Was it more like 3 companies or more like 30 companies split up the business, would you say?
I have no idea because we actually had just put these 2 roofs on about 6 weeks ago, and we weren't involved prior to then. But
okay, now,
everybody has new roofs.
So, remember last time we spoke? I'm reminding myself, not you per se. I remember last time we spoke, there was an issue of, hey, we're going to let them know that there's a deadline of when they have to do this.
Right.
And I don't remember the conversation fully, but the part I do remember was something like, hey, your insurance company is only going to cover this for a certain amount of time, and then after that time elapses, then your damage is no longer eligible, and even in cases where the damage was not evident by naked eye inspection, it still may be there, and if you don't get it inspected and find this out, then you're going to lose your eligibility to have your insurance company fix it later. True enough?
Yes.
So why wouldn't that be our approach here?
Well, I didn't really want to go the approach with hail damage because I'm not sure that there's hail damage in that particular subdivision. And in all honesty, there's been a lot of bad press in Atlanta and the news about these storm chasers. And that just puts us in the realm, in my opinion, of being some kind of a storm chaser looking to, pick up some work.
Well, maybe not. I think that you can over-sensationalize that. There's a reality called, not with these homes necessarily, but in general, there's a reality called a storm came through and there's a lot of damage. So, of course, there's going to be companies that come in and fix. And the storm chasers that they're warning you against are the guys that come in from out of town or that get a pickup truck. But there's still legitimate companies that are, quote, unquote, chasing the storms because that's the obvious place to get business, right?
Right.
So don't let yourself get too worried about that issue, because you can always come in and say, look, we're a legitimate company and you can prove that. But here's what I'm interested and curious about in this particular situation is, so what's the problem with these 20 or 30 people's roof?
As to why they have not replaced them?
Yeah, I mean, you just told me, well, they don't necessarily have hail damage, so why would they want to replace their roof?
Well, again, I don't have any answer for that question. I guess the same reason some people don't wash their car for 2 years. Or change the oil. I mean, it's got to be done. I mean, some of these houses, the shingles are, you know, there's missing shingles and whatnot, so it needs to be done. I mean, that's a legitimate question. Are you getting to the fact that we're chasing people that just aren't going to do anything?
Not necessarily. I'm simply trying to explore, why are you approaching these 30 people in the first place? Is it because their roofs are worn out and ratty and they need to be replaced?
Yeah, because maybe a little more history on this particular area. The homes are about 18 to 20 years old. I mean, so the roof is done on all of them, and you know it's very noticeable. Missing shingles, broken shingles, things like that. And,
is insurance going to be involved in these replacements?
You know, again, the two houses we did, there was no hail damage on them. So is there hail damage, you know, a quarter mile away? I mean, sometimes, but not necessarily is there going to be an insurance replacement.
What's the likelihood that there's no insurance because they're just old and worn out?
Yeah, I mean, even if a hail hit when it's old and worn out, it would still be a claim. But I'm going to go with the premise that there is no hail damage.
Okay, that's fine. I don't care what the situation is. I just need to understand what the situation is.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if there is hail damage. I obviously didn't walk up to the roofs, but you know, the two ones that we did not have hail damage. But they indicated both these customers that some other people in the subdivision did get hail damage claims.
Now, the roofs, the two that you did replace, were these tile-type roofs, or were these just regular asphalt shingles?
Just asphalt shingles.
And how much are the jobs worth, approximately?
$6,000.
Okay, so we're not talking huge jobs here.
Yeah, they're relatively small.
Now, here's the interesting thing about this particular situation. Your best bet is going to be to knock their doors. And the marketing is not, in my opinion, probably not even really necessary. Now, if this was a lot bigger area where that becomes more impractical, then that's probably not true. But my gosh, I think I would just go knock these people's door and go, hey, you're out of 200 homes in this neighborhood, there's only 23 that haven't replaced their roofs. You're one of them. I notice you got shingles and junk hanging off and, you know, in disrepair. You know, is there something we can do for you? And
right.
then let them tell you why they're not doing it. Oh, geez, I can't afford it. You know, they probably wouldn't say that because that is embarrassing. But, you know, whatever. I don't know.
Sure.
And then maybe you could put together a mailer if you wanted to. You know, because what you're doing with this mailer here is you're talking about stuff that they have no interest or care about. Who do you hire to replace your roof in an industry that's unregulated? And their typical response is probably going to be, well, I don't freaking care because I'm not replacing my stupid roof. Trash. Are you following me?
Well, I hear what you're saying, but I guess I'm going to respectfully disagree because, you know, that's not to say let's keep up with the Joneses, but unless they just have no care about their house at all, and it's a nice neighborhood. The houses are, you know, $200,000, $250,000. Used to be $350,000, $400,000. But so you know, when you look at the vast majority of your neighbors have not only replaced the roof, but went from a 3-tab plain shingle to architectural shingle, which is the case out there. You know, you got to drive home every day and look at your roof and say, you know, almost be embarrassed that you haven't replaced yours yet.
Well, okay, so
that's just, I mean, that's me. Of course, I have a little more pride and ownership than maybe these people do. I don't know.
Well, guess what they're telling you by their lack of having replaced their roof? Guess what they're communicating to you loud and clear?
My guess is delaying the expense as long as they can.
They're communicating to you very loud and clear that, hey, Bob, for whatever reason, this is not as important to me as it is to you, okay?
Yeah.
It's a fact, okay? It's a fact. Now, the 180 people that already did it, they're communicating, hey, Bob, we agree, it's important. So here's what I'm getting after. I'm getting after this. I would rather address the issues head on that are preventing them from doing it instead of coming with an issue that is probably not that important to them. Who do you hire to replace your roof in an industry that's unregulated? And their response to that, by way of repeat, is, well, I don't know. It doesn't really matter because I'm not replacing my roof. Obviously, look at it. So what if we came with an approach that was a little bit different that said I'm giving a concept, not writing an ad right now, okay? What
yeah,
the
I got
concept
you.
was, hey, we noticed that you haven't replaced your roof, even though it needs it. Here's some of the reasons that people don't. Maybe we can help you overcome some of them. One of the reasons is money. One of the reasons is money. You know, it costs a lot of money to replace a roof, especially when it's just worn out through natural age and wear and tear. And insurance isn't going to cover it. But there's financing programs available that actually make it very affordable, blah, blah, blah. Number two, don't trust contractors. Yeah, we've all heard the stories about unscrupulous contractors that are hard to trust. You know, blah, blah, blah. Here's, you know, how you can protect yourself. And then you get into some of the things that you've got on this letter here, right?
Right.
What would be another reason? Didn't realize it needed to be replaced. Think that might be a reason? The truth is,
some people, sure.
Truth is, the problems that come from not replacing a roof of this age oftentimes are hidden and cause more damage, structural, blah, 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 you know, whatever. But you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I do. So, yeah, I like the avenue better.
You're imposing on them that they care about this. Who do you hire to replace your roof in an industry that is unregulated? And I'm telling you, these people are going to go, well, my roof, I don't know. Who cares? And I want to hit them in their reasons. Why are they not? And I think these are probably the main ones. And I think number 3 is probably even, I think 1 and 3 are probably the major ones. 1, they can't afford it, so let's hit that. And some people just aren't going to be able to afford anything no matter what. So, you know, whatever. They got horrible credit, right? They're upside down. They're unemployed, whatever, right?
Sure.
But that's okay. That's still one of the reasons. I would probably flip-flop these. I would go number 1, money. Number 2, didn't realize it needed to be replaced. And you'd be surprised. That's going to be the case.
Well, we take pictures of the roof, and the next door neighbors, the second roof we did, I took photos and showed it to them, and they were thinking, well, we want to do it sometime in the next year. I showed them photos, and they signed up a week later.
Okay.
They didn't know by not being on top of it, on top of the roof, that is.
There's something that I call the law of 9,433. Have you ever heard me talk about this before?
No, I haven't.
It's called the law of 9,433, and here's what it is. We all have 9,433 things going on in our lives at any given moment. Everything from the smallest issue of the pen that I'm using right now, the ink isn't coming out very good, so I've got to figure out something to do, either throw the pen away or try to make it work. Very, very minor issue, right?
Right.
I'm leaving out of town tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and I've got things I've got to get done, and I've got to get packed and get prepared. And my wife and kids are going to be back home. What are they going to do? And, oh, by the way, I've got to get Adobe upgraded on my computer because I switched to a new computer, and that's not working. And I've got this can of Dr. Pepper sitting on my desk that I drank 3/4 of yesterday, and I really need to go dump it out in the sink and throw the can away, but I haven't yet. You say, well, why are you telling me this, Rich? That's stupid. No, it's not. This is called 9,433 things to do. Some of them extraordinarily insignificant, like the Dr. Pepper can. Some of them very big and important, like, you know, my roof is falling apart.
Right.
And as the guy that sells roof, you always assume that the roof thing is high on their list. In reality, it's not.
Sure.
It's not. And what we've got to do is come in and say, hey, look, pay attention to your roof for a minute. It's kind of obvious that it needs some work, but here's some reasons that people don't do something, and here's some solutions for those things. Oh, okay. And then I would, I don't know that you necessarily even need this letter. I would just go knock their doors, but it is something that you could use in a wider scope, potentially to a wider audience if you find other lists or neighborhoods, et cetera. And, you can put it together and send it to these 20 views. It's not going to hurt anything. But what's going to be really effective is just go knock on their doors and say, hey, what's going on? And you know what? If I knocked their door, guess what I would say to them probably?
Well, you would say, hey, I looked at your roof. It looks like it might need replacement. Anything holding you back from replacing it at this point in time?
Nope, that's not what I would say.
No?
I'd say, hey, I looked at your roof and it looks like it might need some replacement. You know what? There's a few major reasons that people don't replace the roof when it needs it. The first one, quite honestly, is they didn't realize it. But blah, 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 blah. The second one is they can't afford it, or they think they can't afford it, blah, 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 blah. The third one is they don't trust contractors, so they just kind of put it off. Which one of those do you think most applies to you, Mr. Johnson? Oh, geez, the money's tight. Oh, okay, let's talk about that. I'd approach it at the door the same way I approached it in the letter.
That's a good idea. But basically, you're saying, hey, you know what? I know you're going to give me one of these objections. Which one are you going to give me?
And you make it easy to talk about it. If I say, hey, Mr. Johnson, we're here in the neighborhood, and we noticed your roof needs to be replaced, and have you thought about replacing it? You've kind of put them in an awkward spot. Oh, no, I haven't because I'm lazy and I don't care how my roof looks. That's what they're saying, no matter what they say. And you know what? We've noticed in this neighborhood, the homes are 18 to 20 years old. The roofs have all gone out. The fact is that most of your neighbors have already replaced. I noticed that you haven't. And you know what, Mr. Johnson? There's three major reasons. What I'm doing is I'm letting them off. I'm saying, hey, it's okay. I'm saying you're not a fool for not having done this. I'm saying there's reasons that people haven't done it. Here's some of the main reasons. And notice what I put first. Number one, they didn't even realize it. And I would probably put money third on the door knocking approach. You know why? Because it's probably really the first one, but I don't want to come out and say, hey, you're probably broke.
Sure.
Because that sounds, the first reason is they didn't realize it. Number one. Number two is they didn't realize, they didn't think they could trust a contractor. The third one is money. Money's tight. Hey, man, the recession, people lost jobs. It happens. So any of those, or maybe something different? What's the situation? What's been causing you to put it off? And I'm using a tone, and I'm giving them options so that it sounds like it was a legitimate reason. I'm not coming up saying, man, you're so stupid. I can't believe you. What an idiot. Look at your roof. Aren't you embarrassed? I don't want them to feel like that. I want them to feel like, hey, here's some reasons. And I want the letter to be the same thing. So, this is a very niche conversation we're having. It's a very specific situation. But I like it. I think it's a good, valuable exercise to really think through, in this niche situation, what's the best approach? And I think it is to come in and acknowledge, hey, here's the reasons. So what's your reason? Is it one of those? Is it something different? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I don't really think it's. I mean, this may be a little niche just because there's 90% are done and 10% aren't. But I don't think it's niche in the fact that most subdivisions all have failing products at the same time. In Atlanta, the Southeast anyway, there's a huge problem with siding failure and really window failure also.
Okay.
So it is applicable in our area of the country.
Here's what I'm trying to say with your original letter that's on here. Who do you hire to replace your roof in an industry that is unregulated? This is probably going to be more appropriate for a scenario where there's obvious damage, maybe due to a storm, and people are concerned about that. But that's not really the situation that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And like the previous situation that you called about a few TMACs ago, that was a very niche situation too, where they were running out of time to file a claim, and we'll help you with the claim and all of that kind of stuff. And hey, maybe you don't even realize that you have damage. At least let us take a look, protect yourself. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay. So I think here's a good principle for all of this is and we teach this in the live training class. We've got to understand the scenario and the situation before we start writing the ad, so that we can adapt the ad or the letter or the sales presentation to that specific scenario. So it's not that what you put on this letter is not good and it's not applicable and usable. It's just not necessarily the best thing for this particular situation.
No, I agree with you 100%. So that's why we submitted the ad. I like your idea a lot. I think it'll
think of marketing like playing golf. You've got everything from a driver to a putter, and depending on the shot, you've just got to pull the right club out of the bag. And this is more like a pitching wedge right here.
Sure.
And you're hitting it with like a 5-wood.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
And if you use that, and we take that analogy, your woods would be more of a general, applicable to a wide audience kind of a message, versus you get more down into these lower irons and into the wedges, and then the putters are very specific, very small situations that we need to be very attentive to. So I've never used that analogy before, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, I golf a lot, so I like it too.
Okay, well, run with that, do something with it. If you'd like to submit it over for us to take a second look at it before you mail it out, we'd love to do it.
Well, good. Hey, I appreciate the ideas. I like them.
Okay, thanks for participating, and that's it for now. So we had 3 submissions. We're done. So thanks to Greg and all the others who have been on today. We'll be back with you next Thursday, a week from this Thursday, with what is it? I don't know what it is. It's one of our next webinar, whatever it is. Look on the calendar, and we'll be back with you then. So thanks so much. We'll talk to you then. Bye now.
Thank you.